Alien princess escapes slavers and begs a human for shelter. But what she offers shocks him. It was a quiet night in the Arizona desert. The wind was dry and the stars were clear above. Ethan Walker, a retired soldier, sat outside his small wooden cabin. He sipped warm coffee and looked at the sky. Life had been peaceful since he left. The war. He didn't miss the fighting. He just wanted silence. Suddenly, a bright light cut across the sky like a blade of fire. Boom! The ground shook. A loud explosion echoed through the desert. Ethan stood up fast. His eyes followed the trail of smoke and fire falling behind the distant hills. He grabbed his rifle, jumped in his old truck, and drove toward the crash. His heart beat faster. It wasn't a plane. He had seen crashes before. This was different. 20 minutes later, Ethan reached a large crater in the sand. In the middle, there was a small silver spaceship. It was burning, half buried in the earth, hissing with steam. Strange lights blinked on its surface. Cautiously, Ethan walked closer. Gun ready. The ship door was half open. He heard a weak voice inside. It wasn't English, but it sounded scared. Stepped in. Inside, smoke filled the air. Wires sparked. Ethan found a young woman on the floor. Her skin was pale blue. Her hair was silver and glowing. She wore a torn dress made of thin, shining fabric. Around her neck was a strange metal collar, blinking red. She looked up at him with big violet eyes, full of fear. And then she did something Ethan didn't expect. She dropped to her knees. "Please, don't kill me," she said in broken English. I'll warm your bed. I'll serve you. Just don't sell me." Ethan froze. "What?" "No, I'm not here to hurt you," he said. She looked confused. Her body trembled. "You're not a traitor?" She whispered. "I'm not anything. I'm just a man," Ethan replied. He gently helped her out of the ship. Her legs were shaking. She seemed weak, maybe from injury or hunger. Ethan wrapped her in his jacket and helped her into his truck. On the drive back, he kept glancing at her. She was beautiful, but not human. Her features were too perfect. Her skin glowed softly in the dark. Her fingers were long and elegant. And her eyes, they looked ancient, like they had seen stars burn and die. She didn't speak much, just held his hand tightly like a child afraid of monsters. Back at the cabin, Ethan gave her water and let her rest on the couch. She refused to sleep in his bed. She knelt by the fireplace instead. "I'm yours now," she said softly. "I belong to you," Ethan frowned. "You don't belong to anyone. You're free now." But she shook her head. "No, they'll come. If they find me, they'll punish me and you, because you helped me." "Who's coming?" Ethan asked. "The hunters." That word sent chills down his spine. Later that night, while she slept, Ethan examined the strange collar around her neck. It was locked tight, no keyhole, no button, just alien symbols glowing red. He touched it gently. It zapped him with a small electric shock. Suddenly, her eyes opened. She grabbed his wrist. "Please, don't remove it," she whispered. "If you do, they'll know where I am." "Who are you?" Ethan asked quietly. She looked into his eyes for a long moment. "My name is Serana," she said. "I was born on the moon of Delvoria. I was a princess." "Princess?" Ethan echoed. "Yes," she nodded, tears forming. "But now, I'm just property. They captured me during the war. My people are gone. My planet is gone. I escaped, but they'll come for me." Ethan stared at her, heart heavy. She wasn't lying. Her voice was too broken to fake pain like that. "Then we'll make sure they don't find you," he said. Serana looked at him with wonder, as if no one had ever said those words to her before. "You're different," she whispered. Outside, far in the desert, a black drone flew silently across the sky. It scanned the crater, then turned toward Ethan's cabin. Target locked. Signal sent. The hunters were coming. Ethan couldn't sleep that night. Serana lay curled near the fireplace, her eyes barely closed. Her breathing was soft, but her hands gripped the edge of the blanket like she was ready to run. Like she'd had to run many times before. Outside the cabin, the wind howled across the desert. But inside, it was quiet. Too quiet. Ethan sat at the table, cleaning his rifle. His thoughts were a storm. Who was this girl really? A princess from another world? A fugitive? A danger? Or something more? He looked at the strange collar again. It still blinked red. Her words echoed in his mind. If you touch it, they will find me. He needed answers. And soon, the next morning. Sira now woke slowly. Her eyes scanned the room, then locked onto Ethan. She sat up fast, as if afraid he had left her. I made you tea, Ethan said gently, offering her a mug. Don't worry, it's safe. She took it with both hands, warming her fingers. Thank you, she whispered. They sat in silence for a few minutes. Ethan didn't want to push her, but he had to know. What's in your blood, Serana? He asked. She flinched. What do you mean? Last night, you said you're more than a princess. That they'll come not just to kill you, but to use you. Why? Serana hesitated. Then, slowly, she unwrapped her arm. A soft light pulsed under her skin like golden rivers flowing through her veins. Ethan leaned forward, stunned. This is not normal, he said. No, she agreed. It's not. My ancestors weren't just rulers, they were living weapons. She looked down at her hand, flexing her fingers. My blood carries something called the Loon Coda. Bayo signal passed from mother to daughter. It allows us to control ancient alien machines, ones built before even your Earth was born. Ethan stared at her, speechless. I was supposed to marry someone, not for love, for power, but I refused. They turned against me, my own family. They sold me to the traders. Said I was too dangerous to keep free. And now? Ethan asked. Now they all want the code, to rule the galaxy, to awaken the old ships, to rewrite war. Her hands trembled, and they'll cut me open if they have to. Ethan stood up and paced. You're saying your blood is like a key? That's why they're tracking you? She nodded. Why not destroy it? Remove it? She shook her head. If I die, the code vanishes forever. That's why I'm still alive. Barely. Suddenly, a sound outside. Ethan grabbed his rifle. He peeked through the window, nothing but sand and sky. Then he saw it. A tiny black drone. Hovering near the trees, silent, watching. Serana gasped. They found me. Ethan fired. The bullet hit the drone, but it blinked once and zipped away into the sky. Too late. They know your location now, Serana said, her voice full of panic. They'll send a team, a hunter squad, maybe worse. Ethan grabbed his gear. We're leaving, right now. I can't run again, she said, trembling. You won't be running. You'll be surviving with me. She looked at him for a moment, stunned. Her lips parted. No one's ever chosen to protect me before, she whispered. They packed quickly. Ethan stuffed water, ammo, and maps into his bag. Serana wrapped herself in a cloak, covering her glow. But even then, she was too different. They left the cabin behind. They drove through the back roads, avoiding cameras and satellites, but deep in the desert sky, ships had already entered Earth's orbit. 3 long, black crafts. Each marked with red alien runes, each carrying a crew of hunters. Bred only to do one thing, capture the girl. That night, they stopped near a dry canyon, hiding the truck under a rock ledge. Ethan built a small fire. Serana sat close to him. Too close. He didn't move away. She stared into the flames and asked, Why do you help me, Ethan? He thought for a second. Because I've seen prisoners, slaves, people used. And you're not just a princess. You're someone who deserves freedom. Like anyone else. Tears formed in her eyes. I don't want to be used again, she said. Not for my body, not for my blood. Ethan turned to her. Then don't be. From now on, you decide who you are. She looked at him for a long time, and then she whispered, Maybe I want to be yours. Before Ethan could answer, a high-pitched sound rang in the distance. Blue flare shot into the sky. Serana's face turned pale. They're here. The blue flare hung in the sky like a warning sign. Serana's eyes locked onto it, her breath catching in her throat. She whispered the words again, slower this time, as if trying to prepare herself. They're here. Ethan stood, rifle in hand, scanning the canyon. How many? Serana shook her head. 3 ships, maybe more. The flare means they've begun the ground sweep. Time? Ethan asked. Minutes. Maybe less. Ethan cursed under his breath. Then we're not waiting. He stomped out the fire with his boot and grabbed the bag. Serana moved beside him, fast and silent, but she wasn't the same fragile girl anymore. Something had changed. Her. Violet eyes glowed faintly. Half a mile away, 3 tall figures stepped out of a ship shaped like a black dagger. Their armor was sleek, made of living metal that moved when they moved. Each carried weapons not built for war, but for capture. They weren't just hunters, they were collectors. One of them raised a device into the air. It pulsed red once. Signal confirmed. Royal biosignature is active. She is near. They began walking without sound, without mercy, back in the canyon. Ethan and Serana moved quickly, climbing rocky paths. The moon gave little light. They didn't talk. Every breath was precious. Then Serana stopped. Her body stiffened. What is it? Ethan whispered. They're splitting up, she said. I can feel them. They're linked through the hive net. It's how they hunt. Like wolves. Ethan scanned the path. Then we can't run forever. We need to fight. No, she said quickly. You'll die, Ethan smirked. You haven't seen me in a real fight yet. Serana touched his arm. Her fingers felt warm, almost electric. I don't want to lose you, she whispered. He didn't reply, but he didn't move away either. Suddenly, a rock rolled nearby. Too close. Ethan pointed his rifle. One of the hunters stood just 10 feet. Away, tall, armored, glowing red eyes staring at them through the dark. It didn't speak. It moved fast. Ethan fired. The bullet hit, but the creature didn't fall. It flickered, like its body had absorbed the shot. Ethan fired again. This time, it fell backward, but quickly got up, its armor hissing like a snake. Run! Ethan shouted. Serana stood still. Hands began to glow. Her eyes turned white. She raised her arm, and the hunter froze mid-step, like a puppet cut from its strings. Ethan watched in shock as the hunter screamed silently and fell to its knees. Serana clenched her fist. The hunter's armor cracked. Then boom. It exploded into a burst of light and dust. Ethan turned to her, eyes wide. What the hell was that? I don't know, she said, panting. I've never done that before. But now the other two were close. Too close. One of them leapt from the rocks above, landing between them. Ethan was thrown to the ground. The hunter grabbed Serana and slammed her into the dirt. Ethan crawled to his feet and tackled the creature, pulling a knife from his belt and stabbing under its armor. The hunter shrieked, but didn't die. It threw Ethan aside like a toy. Serana screamed. Then the third hunter appeared, bigger than the others. Its mask was silver. Its body hummed like a machine filled with rage. This one was the alpha. Serana stood up, her arms glowing again, ready to fight. But the alpha lifted a strange device from its belt and clicked it. Her collar blinked red. Then, WHETGNZAAA. Serana screamed in pain and collapsed, her body twitching on the ground. Ethan tried to crawl to her, but the alpha kicked him down and placed a boot on his chest. You're not part of this, the creature said in a deep, broken voice. Leave or die. Ethan looked up, blood on his lips, Go to hell. He spat. The Alpha raised its weapon to shoot him, but before it could fire, boom. A blinding shockwave burst from Serana's body, throwing all three hunters backward. Even Ethan was knocked off the cliff's edge, rolling down into the sand below. When he looked up, the sky was glowing. Serana was floating above the rocks. Her hair was glowing silver, eyes white suns. The collar had cracked. Sparks flew from it. The hunters stood, staring in fear. For the first time, they hesitated. Serana raised her hand. I am not yours. Not anymore. She slammed her hand downward. A wave of energy rushed forward like a storm. The Alpha screamed before its armor shattered into dust. The others ran, but it was too late. Serana dropped to the ground, breathing hard. Ethan climbed up and caught her. As she fell, he held her close. You okay? She nodded weakly. I didn't mean to do that. I couldn't stop it. Ethan looked around at the smoking ground. No complaints, he said with a half smile. She smiled back, her face glowing in the moonlight. I don't think I'm just a key anymore, she whispered. Ethan held her tighter. No, he said. You're a weapon. And a queen. Ethan drove fast through the desert roads. Serana was asleep in the back seat, her head resting on a rolled-up jacket. Her silver hair was dim now, her skin pale from using too much energy. The power inside her. It was growing, but it was also burning her from within. He kept glancing at her through the mirror, worried. They couldn't stay hidden anymore. The hunters were real, and now Earth knew. At a secret government base, hours earlier, General Marcus Dorn watched the satellite footage in silence. He saw the alien girl floating in the canyon, destroying 3 heavily armored hunters like they were paper dolls. He saw the human man Ethan Walker fighting beside her. The room was cold. Officers sat around the screen, speechless. She's not a refugee, one of them finally said. She's a weapon. General Dorn narrowed his eyes. No, she's a key. He turned toward a private channel and pressed a button. Activate. Project Black Net, he said. We're bringing her in alive. Back on the road, Ethan drove toward an old friend's safe house, someone who owed him a favor from the war. The location was off-grid, hidden beneath a broken-down gas station. He pulled in as the sun was rising. A tall woman stepped out from behind the pumps. Her eyes scanned the truck. A scar ran down her left cheek. Walker, she said. Didn't expect to see you. Good to see you too, Reed, Ethan replied. I need a place for both of us. Reed looked into the truck and saw Sierra nod. Alien, beautiful, glowing even in sleep. Her expression changed. Inside, now, later. Serana sat by a dusty window, holding a warm drink. She looked tired. Her energy hadn't returned, but her fear had. Something's wrong, she whispered. Ethan looked up. What do you mean? I feel eyes. Not alien, human, watching. Ethan frowned. We're off the grid. No place is off the grid, she said. Not for your people. That evening, Reed handed Ethan a folder. You were right to run, she said. She's now labeled a level 7 galactic threat. The US isn't the only one hunting her. Russia, China, and 3 corporations all want her body. Ethan's eyes darkened. Her body? Reed nodded. They want her for breeding, weapon research, cloning. Some even think she's a goddess reborn. Serana looked up, her voice shaking. They'll cut me open, just like before. No one's cutting you, Ethan said firmly. But then bang. The front door exploded. Tear gas filled the room. Shouts from soldiers, human voices this time. On the ground. Now, Ethan pulled Serana behind him, gun raised. He recognized the uniforms, U.S. Special Forces. Stand down, Walker. Shouted. The commander. You are harboring an alien threat. Ethan fired once, hitting the wall near the soldiers to make them duck. He turned to Serana. Run, go with Reed. But Reed didn't move. Her gun was now aimed at Ethan. I'm sorry, she said. I made a deal. What? Ethan froze. They offered me full pardon. A new ID, off-world transport. You sold her out? She's not just a girl, Ethan. She's a galaxy-sized price tag. Serana's eyes filled with tears, but no surprise. She had seen the trail before always. Soldiers grabbed Ethan and slammed him to the ground. Serana tried to run, but 2 taser darts hit her. Zop! She screamed and fell. The collar reactivated around her neck, glowing white. Hours later, Ethan woke in a dark metal room. His hands were chained to a table. A screen lit up. General Dorn's face appeared. You made a mistake, soldier. Dorn said coldly. She's not yours to protect. She's an asset. A game changer. And she's ours now. Ethan stared at the screen. She's not a weapon. She's a person. Dorn laughed. Not anymore. She's carrying something inside her, something ancient. Our scientists will find out what it is. Ethan's eyes narrowed. If you touch her again, I will kill every last one of you. The screen went black. Meanwhile, Serana was locked in a cold glass cell, metal walls. No light, no warmth. Just a collar. And a growing pain in her stomach. She touched her belly. A soft glow answered. Her voice cracked. I'm sorry, little one. I couldn't protect you. But then she heard it. A whisper inside her mind. We are not alone. We will rise. Her eyes widened. The child inside her was awakening. The cold metal floor of the cell pressed against Serana's skin. She was shaking, not from fear she was used to fear, but from something growing inside her. Something alive, something powerful, something that had started to speak. We are not alone. We will rise. She placed a hand on her stomach again. A soft golden glow pulsed from under her skin. Her eyes widened. Her breath caught. She wasn't just carrying a life. She was carrying a miracle. Elsewhere in the base. Ethan was dragged through a hallway by 2 guards. His face was bruised. He'd tried fighting them again. Where are you taking me? He demanded. The guard said nothing. But when the door opened, Ethan knew. It was a lab. Clean, bright, cold. And in the center behind glass walls was Serana, strapped to a table, collar glowing. Eyes wide open in pain. Let her go. Ethan roared. General Dorn stood near a monitor, arms folded. You should be proud, soldier, he said calmly. Your lover is about to change history. She's not your lab rat, Ethan growled. She's a carrier, Dorn replied. And the baby growing inside her isn't just alien. It's part human. Ethan froze. What did you say? Serana turned her head weakly. She met Ethan's eyes. I didn't tell you. I didn't know how. Her voice cracked. It's yours. Ethan stepped back like he'd been hit. His heart raced. 1,000 thoughts collided at once. They had never. Then he remembered the night she had used her powers to save him, when her energy had entered his body. When they had shared that deep, unspoken connection. It hadn't just healed him. It had linked them. General Dorn tapped on the glass. The child inside her was created when your DNA merged with hers through energy transfer, he explained. Unplanned, unnatural, impossible by our science. But it happened. He pointed to the monitor. This hybrid isn't just a baby. It's the first of its kind, born of war and survival. Its neural scans are off the charts. We think it's waking up early, thinking, growing faster than normal. Ethan stared through the glass. What are you going to do? Dorn didn't smile. We're going to open her up, study the fetus, extract the code from its cells, then decide what to do with her, Serana gasped. No, the collar pulsed red. Pain shot through her. Ethan slammed his fists on the glass. You touch her, and I swear, I'll burn this place to the ground. But the guards pulled him back. Dorn looked at him one last time. You had a choice, Walker. You chose wrong. He turned and left. Inside the lab, Serana's eyes closed. She whispered softly, not to anyone in the room, but to the one inside her. They'll kill us. Unless you help me. There was silence. Then we are awake now, Mother. A golden glow spread from her chest to her belly. The collar short-circuited, sparking wildly. The lights in the lab flickered. The machines beeped with alarms. Guards shouted. Then silence. Serana opened her eyes. They were no longer violet. They were white fire. The straps holding her snapped apart. She floated off the table. Her body glowed like a star about to burst. The glass walls cracked. Then exploded. Elsewhere in the facility, Ethan was locked in a holding room when the explosion hit. Boom. The shockwave shattered the door. Smoke filled the hallway. Ethan ran toward the lab, coughing. He turned a corner and froze. Guards were unconscious. Monitors sparked. And in the center of the lab, Serana stood, floating, glowing, untouched. And in her arms, a soft sphere of light hovered near her stomach, pulsing gently. Not born yet, but awake. Alive. Aware. She turned toward Ethan. Her voice was layered, her own, and another inside it. He is coming. Our son. He knows your voice. He knows your pain. Ethan stepped forward, shaking. What is he? Serana smiled softly. Something new. Something that has never existed before. A bridge between galaxies. Between war and peace. Between power and heart. Suddenly, from above, alarms blared. A new ship was entering Earth's orbit. Huge. Silent, cloaked in shadow, not human. Not bounty hunters. Something older, something royal. Serana's body shivered. The High Queen, she whispered. She found me. Ethan looked at her. What does she want? Serana's voice trembled. She wants the child. She wants to destroy it before it's born. Because she knows. She took Ethan's hand and placed it on her glowing belly. He is stronger than all of us. The skies over Earth grew dark, not from clouds, but from the shadow of a ship too large to understand. Its surface shimmered with black metal and ancient runes. It didn't hum. It whispered like it was alive. Ethan watched from the broken lab window, holding Serana's hand. His mind raced. What is that? He asked. Serana stared at the ship, her face pale, her voice hollow. That is the Queen's Ark, a warship built before time. It carries an entire city inside it, and she's here for one reason. Enfin already knew the answer. Our child, inside the Queen's Ark. She stood at the center of a silver throne, wearing a gown made of living vines and bone-like armor. Her skin was as dark as the void. Her eyes glowed like suns. Queen Zeraxia, the last of the high blood, and Serana's aunt. Activate the hive beam, she said. Target the hybrid. An officer hesitated. But my queen. It's not born yet. Exactly. Destroy it before it breathes. Back on Earth. The air trembled. A golden beam shot from the sky, hitting the military base like lightning. The ground cracked. Metal turned to dust. Tanks melted. Soldiers ran. Serana collapsed, holding her stomach. She screamed, not in pain, but in connection. She's trying to erase him before he even exists. Ethan caught her, pulling her into his arms. What do we do? He shouted. She looked up, her eyes glowing again. We fight. But this time, not alone. Suddenly, Sierra now placed Ethan's hand on her belly again. A pulse of energy shot through him. His eyes widened. His veins lit up gold. He fell back, gasping. What is happening to me? Serana stood, calm, powerful. You're connected to him too now. Our son has chosen you. You are his shield. Ethan looked at his arms, glowing, changing, becoming more than human. From the skies, Second beam fell, this time aimed at them. But Ethan raised his arms. The beam hit and bounced off, exploding into the air. He stood shocked. I just blocked. A plasma beam. You're more than a soldier now, Serana said. You're blood of the last line. Far above. Queen Xeraxia slammed her hand on the throne. He's active, already? He shouldn't be that strong. She turned to her. Officers, deploy the Dreadwalkers. From hidden chambers in the ship, massive beasts stepped out 10 feet tall, armored with claws made of living metal, each born to do one thing: kill blood heirs, erase legacies. Back on Earth, the Dreadwalkers landed like meteors. The ground shook, buildings cracked. Ethan and Serana stood side by side in the desert ruins. Behind them, the child inside her began to hum a deep, vibrating sound that echoed through space itself. Ethan held up his rifle, now charged with golden light. Serana raised both hands, her fingers glowing white. The Dreadwalkers roared, and the battle began. Ethan moved faster than any human should. He dodged claws, rolled under blasts, and fired shots that shattered metal. Serana floated in the air, her hair like silver fire, sending waves of energy into the monsters. One walker charged her, but she raised a single finger. Boom! It vaporized, but more kept coming. Ethan was knocked down. One walker stood over him, claws raised. Just before it struck, Serana screamed. Her voice cracked reality itself. The sand lifted, turned to light, and crashed into the monster. Blood dripping, breathing hard. Ethan looked up. Serana landed beside him. She fell to her knees. It's time. Ethan caught her as her body began to glow brighter than ever before. He's coming, she whispered. The birth has started. The earth trembled, winds roared, the sky split open, but not with war. With life. A golden sphere lifted from Serana's body, shining, vibrating, growing inside it. A child. Floating. Breathing. Looking at them with glowing silver eyes. The Dreadwalkers stopped. The queen, watching from orbit, stood frozen. No. It's already begun. He's born, and I can't stop it. The child opened his mouth and spoke into every mind on Earth and beyond. I am the bloodline reborn. I do not bring death. I bring choice. The walkers dropped to their knees. The queen screamed. Serana collapsed into Ethan's arms. He's safe now, she whispered. He's free. Smoke drifted across the desert battlefield. The sand was scorched. The sky cracked with light, and the world had gone silent. At the center of it all, a newborn child floated in the air, glowing gold and silver. No wires, no machines. Just power and peace. His eyes, barely opened, held the wisdom of 1,000 stars. Serana lay on the ground, weak but alive, her head in Ethan's lap. Her skin was pale, her body trembling, but her eyes, they were full of joy. He's here, she whispered. Our son, he chose life. Ethan looked up at the floating child, part human, part alien royal blood, born not of war, but defiance. He stood, still glowing with energy from their bond. Come down, little guy, he said softly. The child slowly floated into Ethan's arms, weightless and warm. He didn't cry. He only blinked and smiled. Above Earth, on the Queen's Ark, panic spread. Queen Xeraxia stared at her ship's systems offline, her soldiers disconnected, her armies kneeling. The child's birth had sent a wave of energy through the hive net, shutting down the Queen's control. She screamed in rage. This is impossible. He's just a newborn. Her top commander turned slowly and said, he is not just a child. He is the code, the weapon, the king. And then, for the first time in her life, Queen Xeraxia bowed. Back on Earth, Serana was healing fast. The energy from the child had spread through her veins, fixing the damage, strengthening her body. She stood beside Ethan now, both watching the sun rise over the battlefield. You didn't kill me, human, she said with a gentle smile. Ethan turned to her. "And you didn't destroy me, princess." She laughed softly. "I'm not a princess anymore. What are you then?" She looked at the child in Ethan's arms. "I'm his mother. The mother of the future." The world changed quickly after that. The child named Oren grew fast. Not in size, but in awareness. He could speak in minds. He could control machines with a glance. He could connect to alien technology lost for thousands of years. The wars stopped. The bounty hunters vanished. Even the Queen's Ark left Earth without a fight. Why? Because Oren commanded it. And when he spoke, the galaxy listened. 3 months later, Ethan, Serana, and Oren stood in a massive hall built on Earth's moon. Representatives from 50 alien species stood before them, some curious, some fearful, some hopeful. Serana stepped forward, dressed in a white robe, her royal crest shining on her chest. "My people are gone," she said. "But my blood remains. This child, born of 2 worlds, will not bring war." She looked at Ethan, standing tall beside her. "He will build peace with strength. A new empire, built not from power, but from mercy." Oren floated into the air. He looked at the leaders and said, "We are not your rulers. We are your bridge. Follow, not out of fear, but faith." And one by one, they bowed on Earth. Humans finally learned the truth. We were not alone. We had never been. But now, for the first time in history, we weren't the weak ones anymore. Because a human and an alien princess had dared to protect a child. A child who would become more than a king. He would become legend. Final scene. Ethan sat on a porch, overlooking a peaceful alien forest. Serana walked out holding 2 mugs of tea. Oren floated in the air above them, playing with glowing stars made of light. Ethan smiled and said, "You know, this isn't how I thought retirement would go." Serana smirked. "You wanted silence." Ethan looked at his family. "I got something better." Final line, "Don't kill me, human." "I'll warm your bed," she had begged once. But in the end, she had warmed his world, changed his fate, and together, they had created a future no one could have imagined.